Legislative day number 14 will now come to order. Please rise for a moment of silent meditation. I will now call upon Councilman Jones, who will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there a motion to approve the journal for the meeting of August 5th, 2019?
So moved.
Second.
Been a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
The journal is approved. Bills 32-19, 33-19, 34-19, and 35-19 were passed by the council, signed by the executive, and are hereby enrolled. Mr. Secretary, we now read all bills for introduction, please.
Mr. Chairman, Bill 42-19, Public Health Sales of Tobacco Products and Electronic Smoking Devices to persons under the age of 21. Bill 43-19, Current Expense Budget Caregivers Support Program. Bill 44-19, a bill sponsored by Mr. Quirk, Chairman Quirk, entitled Zoning Regulations Live Musical Entertainment. Bill 45-19, sponsored by Councilwoman Bevins, Zoning Regulations, Special Regulations for CT Districts.
The council will now consider all bills for final reading and vote. Mr. Secretary, first bill, please.
Bill 36-19, Current Expense Budget Public Art Program.
And I see Mr. Barry Williams making his way up to testify. And good evening, Mr. Williams.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and Council. The Baltimore County and its Commission on Arts and Sciences regularly receive grants from the Maryland State Arts Council, MSAC, utilizing such grants along with county funding to help support a variety of organizations and programs that provide arts and sciences services enjoyed by the citizens of the county. The Baltimore County Commission on Arts and Sciences was recently made aware of an additional grant opportunity available through the MSAC, which would enable the county via the Commission to secure an additional $5,000 in grant funding. A supplemental appropriation amount in the amount of $5,000 is needed to enable the county and the Commission to receive the $5,000 in additional matching grant funding from the MSAC. The county's required equal match shall consist of $5,000 in general funds available within the fiscal year 2020 budget. The intended use of the grant funding, the match, and an additional $7,547 in available unexpended grant funding for a total of $17,547 is to establish a public art grant program that would provide funding for local arts initiatives.
And are there any questions or comments from the members? Councilman Marks?
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Williams, for your testimony. I'm not going to repeat the question I asked you because you've answered it. But just for the record, I think this is a great initiative. I think arts and culture enhances our downtown areas in particular. Towson just celebrated the completion of a mural, a beautiful mural at York in Pennsylvania, and I would just hope that in the future Towson would be included as a candidate for this funding.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? I just also echo Councilman Marks' sentiment, so thank you for your work. And then, seeing no other questions or comments, Mr. Secretary, can you call the roll on Bill 36-19?
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Catch? Aye. Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye. Bill 36-19 is passed. Thank you, Mr. Williams. Mr. Secretary, next bill, please.
Bill 37-19 is sponsored by Council Members Quirk, Marks, Catch, Bevins, and Patoka, entitled Open Space Fees.
Before we get into any questions or comments, why don't we do the amendment first? If Mr. Secretary, if you could read the amendment?
There is one amendment, Mr. Chair. This amendment would not change the substance of the bill, but would deal with the applicability of the bill and grandfathering, as it's called. And this specific language would be that the act would not apply to any residential and or mixed-use development or construction project with a residential component for which the filing of the following has occurred prior to the effective date. 1, a concept plan. 2, an amendment to any approved residential and or mixed-use development plan with a residential component. And 3rd, or an application for a planned unit development. And there would also be additional language that indicates that it would not apply to any development which has vested prior to the effective date of the act or to any subsequent amendments to a vested project.
Questions or comments? Councilman Marks?
Yeah, thank you very much. I want to begin by commending NeighborSpace for its many years of advocacy. I think all of us have worked on projects in our district with NeighborSpace. I have at least 2 projects that we've worked on. They're a great organization, and I think this legislation is a good step forward. A lot of people have contacted me fearing that there would be a rush of amendments to this bill, and I think this is the only amendment that we're considering, and it has to do with when the bill takes effect. I'm going to use this analogy. You're a homeowner who goes to build a deck or build a swimming pool, and you get through all the engineering, and you get to the permits, and you're ready to build, and then the law changes. And I just think that we have to have a reasonable period where projects in the pipeline are protected. This is not an unreasonable amendment. This doesn't push things out 2 or 3 years. It's just a reasonable amendment that I think deals with those projects that are right now under consideration. And this is the only amendment to this bill I will support. I just think it's a matter of reasonableness and setting a definite time when this bill should take effect.
Any other questions? Councilman
Chairman?
Couch?
Yeah, I think that it's ironic that we're going to entertain this amendment or any other amendment. Later on in this session, we'll be voting on a procedural legislation that will allow members of the council, when there's an amendment that changes a bill, will allow the council to delay consideration until the next voting session. Now, number one, with this issue, there's been a lot of things said. For instance, one of the things said is that, first of all, we don't exactly know how the fees are calculated for these various developments, which are paying fees in lieu of open space. As far as this amendment goes, we have a note, not a fiscal note, but information that says it may affect 9 proposed developments, but the word may, I don't think we have enough information to vote on this amendment. And again, it's a shame that we're not voting on the resolution that would allow this council to extend consideration of this amendment and this bill to give the public, to give the administration enough time to answer questions we have so that we absolutely know what we're voting on, what these amendments do. There's been a number of amendments today that have been offered to this bill. I don't know if they're going to be introduced or not. I have no idea. But this is no way to do business. This really is not. And we have a perfect way to resolve it, which unfortunately we're going to vote on later on in this session. So I am not going to be supporting any amendments to this bill at this point. I don't think we have enough information. And I just very uncomfortable voting on things when we don't know exactly what the ramifications are. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on this amendment from the council?
Councilman Catch, the public sentiment is overwhelmingly in favor of this reform. I mean, that's the sense I got from all the people who testified in favor. I haven't had one person from the community tell me they were against this bill. And when I've told them that I'm considering, because people email me like they email you, I've told them this was a possible amendment. And a lot of them seem to understand that. So, I mean, I think we're getting ready to pass a very progressive piece of legislation.
Mr.
Councilman Katz?
Yeah, I wasn't speaking against the bill in any way. I was just speaking against the last-minute amendment, and I just have a problem with it. I just think the public has a right to comment and to have input on these issues.
Councilman Patoka?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Councilman Catch, I think you make an excellent point. Having said that, I think that we heard the testimony at the work session, and I think Councilman Marks has done an outstanding job in terms of communicating with the public and also communicating with his colleagues on this. And so ordinarily I would say I would agree with your point, but I think given the legwork that Councilman Marks has done on this, I'm going to be supporting the amendment.
Any other questions or comments on this amendment only?
I'll quickly go just one more, an analogy to the impact fee debate. You know, don't let the enemy be the, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good, okay? I was in the middle of that impact fee debate, and I'm very pleased we passed a bill. It's not a perfect bill, but it's a bill that moves forward. And let's all just remember that saying, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good.
All right. Any other discussion on the amendment? All right. Is there a motion to approve the amendment to Bill 37-19?
So moved.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on the amendment to Bill 37-19.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
No.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
No.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
And the amendment passes. All right, so let's see. Questions or comments on this Bill 37-19 as amended, on the bills amended? Any questions or comments? I personally want to thank my council colleague members. We had a lot of discussion on this bill. And, I think some out of this bill, I do think there might be other bills considered that might make good public policy sense, and, look forward to working with my colleagues on other ideas or suggestions. But we did communicate a lot. It was very bipartisan. And so I do want to thank everybody for your work on this. Any other comments? Any other questions? Councilman?
Mr. Chair, sure. I concur with you. I think that the level of communication among the 7 of us was professional and cordial. No one yelled at me, and I didn't yell at anyone else. So it hasn't always been that way with this body. So a lot of effort by the chair and by Councilman Marks went into getting the bill to something that we can get behind, and it does support an organization that does great work in Baltimore County and will hopefully continue to bring successes to all of our districts.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to say, the master plan, the 2020 master plan calls for smart growth, and I've tried to be about smart growth in the 6th district, and I think open space goes hand in hand with smart growth. So that's why I was happy to be a co-sponsor of this bill, and I'd like to thank everybody also for all the work that went into this bill.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Is there a motion to approve Bill 37-19 as amended?
So moved.
There's been a motion. I'll second. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Bill 37-19 as amended.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Bill 37-19 as amended is unanimously passed. Mr. Secretary, next bill, please.
Next is Bill 39-19, sponsored by Councilman Catch, zoning regulations, uses permitted in manufacturing light ML zones.
And if it's okay with Councilman Catch, it's okay we do the amendment first?
Sure.
All right, Mr. Secretary, could you please read the amendment?
Certainly. The amendment would, if you recall at the work session, there was some concern over the scope of the bill being countywide, and this amendment would essentially narrow the scope of the bill. It would basically be applicable within 2 aerial miles, that the use would need to be located within 2 aerial miles of any boundary of the commercial mixed-use focal point area in the Hunt Valley Timonium Master Plan as of July 1, 2019. That is, those uses in the ML zone.
Any questions or comments on the amendment? Is everybody good?
I'm fine with the amendment. What the bill does is it allows an emergency vet center in Sparks, basically. That's what this allows.
Councilman Crandall, then Councilwoman Bevins.
Well, I want to thank Councilman Cash for being open to the amendment, and Councilwoman Bevins, I don't mean to steal your thunder, but
That's okay.
we've
I didn't invite you today.
we've both worked in Baltimore County Economic Development, and our partners in the state have worked to bring back manufacturing to Baltimore County, and has benefited both of our districts. So those M zones are something that we'd like to protect for the creation of manufacturing jobs, and they're valuable pieces of property. So I do understand that you have a goal for your district, and I'm happy to support you on helping you reach that goal.
Councilwoman Bevins?
Ditto.
Ditto. All righty.
Sorry.
Any other questions or comments on the amendment? Is there a motion to approve the amendment?
So moved.
And I'll second. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on the amendment to Bill 39-19.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
The amendment passes. Is there any questions or comments on Bill 39-19 as amended? Any questions or comments? And everybody good? All right. Is there a motion to approve Bill 39-19 as amended?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Bill 39-19 as amended.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Bill 39-19 as amended is passed. Mr. Secretary, next bill, please.
Next is Bill 41-19, sponsored by Council Members Jones and Bevins, Development Impact Surcharge and Fee.
And are there any questions or comments from Councilman Jones or Councilwoman Bevins or anyone?
Nope, okay.
Everybody good? All right. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Bill 41-19.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Bill 41-19 is passed. The council will now consider all fiscal matters. Extensive testimony was taken at the council's work session on August 27, 2019. The witnesses who testified at the work session are available to restate their testimony if needed. If a council member has any questions regarding a particular fiscal matter, that item will be discussed as a separate matter. I will now call upon the Secretary to read the cover letter for fiscal matters 1 through 11.
Fiscal Matter 1 is a contract with Joseph Scott Nichols doing business as Dr. Joey Nichols, LLC. Fiscal Matter 2 is a contract with Dex Imaging of Maryland, LLC. Fiscal Matter 3 is a purchase order with Pure Technologies US Incorporated. Fiscal Matter 4 is a contract with B&J Sweeping and Sons Incorporated. Fiscal Matter 5 is a contract with Weather Watch Incorporated doing business as Weather Data Network, LLC. Fiscal Matter 6 is a contract with Metals Treatment Technologies, LLC, doing business as MT2, LLC. Fiscal Matter 7 is a contract with SETI and Associates International, PLLC. Fiscal Matter 8 is an agreement with the U.S. Geological Survey. Fiscal Matter 9 is a contract with Gauntz Enterprises, Incorporated. Fiscal Matter 10 is a contract with Schreiber Translation, Incorporated. And Fiscal Matter 11 is a lease with Montgomery Park, LLC.
And are there any questions or comments from the members
Mr.
on any of these? Councilman Catch?
Yes, I was just wondering from the administration, with the weather forecasting service, does the Board of Education have the same kind of contract?
I would have to check that for you, Councilmember Catch. But I wasn't here during the work session when that particular piece was presented. I didn't know that was a question. But I can assure you the need that we have to make determinations on planning across the board is so time sensitive. That's why we need our contract.
I was just concerned that the Board of Education may have a similar contract and is going to get the same
In terms of
information.
duplication of effort.
Yeah, and not to mention the cost. I know it's not a lot of money, but money's money, so.
Correct. We are happy to confer with Kevin Smith on the matter.
Is there, I mean, if we find out that it's a duplication, I mean, do we actually still have to pay for both of the same service?
Councilman, it's my understanding that this contract is limited to Baltimore County government. We cannot share this information outside of the county government. That's based on the agreement and the contract. So it's not something that we could just print out and send over to BCPS for their use. It's something we are restricted in our usage.
So if you have information from the Weather Service that is very alarming, you cannot share it with our school system?
I think that gets into a gray area. If it's going to be something that's a life safety issue, I cannot say it might not slip.
I mean,
probably the wrong terminology used.
Yeah,
But I hear your point, and
Yeah.
your point is well taken. We will confer with Kevin Smith with respect to what they use and how they use their determination. But ours is more than just shutdowns. It's timing on other kinds of services that could cost us money, particularly when it comes to our contractual work. This is, after the conversation, I asked what this was about. They schedule, contractors, whether they're going to come in or not come in.
Right,
See,
right.
that cost, that's where the money is, the decision-making piece. I'm sure that school system has some kinds of work that they do, contractual work, but we do major work in terms of roads and other kinds of things that we really need that time-sensitive data. We can't just depend on WBAL.
Well,
to make those
I
kinds of
would
decisions.
hope the Board of Education isn't relying on WBAL. We have bus service for students, and I know especially in the Hereford zone, some of those roads, the ice does not fall as soon as it does further south. So will you please, in the future, consult with the Board of Education to see if possibly we can have one contract, or you can share the cost? Because if they're getting the same thing you are and you can't share the information, I have a problem with that.
Not a problem at all.
Good.
Kevin Smith and I talk on a regular basis. I'll add this to our discussion to see where we can join forces if it's at all possible.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a question related to item 4, the street sweeping contract. And so one of the core functions of government, we provide lots of services, public safety, education, picking up trash, water and sewer, water delivery, sewage disposal. And this is part of refuse waste disposal. And we as a council are obligated to review contracts for all of these nuts and bolts of government. I brought this up at the work session, these things that government does as its core function. And so in terms of waste disposal, we've got this little peanut called street sweeping that comes before us, but yet the larger part of our trash hauling services does not come before council. And that is a core function of government, and I continue to be puzzled as to why that does not come before council. We get, in our office, and I think my senior legislative Justin Silverman would concur, a myriad of issues related to trash pickup, that the cans aren't empty. We had one, fortunately, it was a grainy image of a trash collector urinating in front of someone's house. Now, and that brings up other issues. Are there fair labor practices being in place for people that are trash removal, that are involved in trash removal? Do they have time to go to the bathroom, or is it just let's finish our route as quickly as possible? Whatever human needs you have, that's secondary, but picking up the trash. And the other thing that I've noticed in Baltimore County, and I notice at my house, and we get lots of complaints, is our trash collection. We've got good throwers, and they can destroy some cans. And I feel like we're addressing this street sweeping component, and I'd like to see trash hauling contracts come before this council. That's what we should be acting on, as well as the smaller street sweeping components of waste disposal. And it's just puzzling to me that we haven't seen a single contract for waste disposal come before the council. Are they over 25,000? Are they under 25,000? It's inexplicable. It's this inexplicable non-contract that we don't see. And I'll just leave it at that for discussion with the administration, for discussion with budget office and with the legal office moving forward.
Any other questions or comments from the council? Councilwoman Bevins.
I'd like to add to that, Chair. Our solid waste department is excellent. Whenever I have an issue with any of my haulers, I just had one, trash cans were disappearing, and somebody decided to video outside their window 4:30 in the morning, and the trash haulers were picking up trash cans, put the whole trash can with trash in the trash can. And our people went right out there and replaced their trash cans, and they've been like that from day one. But I understand what you're saying. These are over $500,000 contracts that we have with, how many haulers do we have in Baltimore County? Over 40? Over 40 haulers, and we never see a contract. We don't know who they employ. We don't know how much they pay, if there's fair practices going on there, and I totally agree that I don't know why we see street sweeping contracts but don't see our trash hauling contracts.
I'd like to make a
Councilman
prediction.
Jones?
I'd like to make a prediction.
I want to hear that.
Put it out on bid tomorrow, and all
That's
the
right.
local contracts
That's right.
will be taken away, and it'll be a national hauler in here, and they'll do the job.
That's right.
Councilman Patoka?
Thank you, Councilwoman Bevins, Councilman Jones.
Saying that's a good thing.
I think that if we could put incentives for local haulers in the competitively bid process, if there were a competitively bid process. I believe a bid process, one, ensures that we've got a good price. Secondly, that we can hold a company accountable for the service, which I don't believe we can right now. And that we can ensure that fair labor practices are being put in place by the companies that are awarded the contracts. And Councilwoman Bevins, let me just clarify, I didn't mean it to be a reflection on our solid waste department.
Oh, no, I know that
Sure.
because they're a great agency.
Yes, I would agree. But I think it's something that as a major league county, it's something we should look forward to rather than kind of acting as if we were a minor league county.
Any other questions or Councilman Catch?
Yeah, this has nothing to do with trash removal, but issue 11, which deals with Montgomery Park, I just want to make the comment that obviously Baltimore County and just about every other subdivision is having a problem with opioid abuse, with drug distribution, and I'm just very happy to see this county, the city, and the federal government joining forces to fight this epidemic that we are experiencing in Baltimore County. Thank you.
Councilman Marks?
I will completely echo Councilman Catch's comments on that. I think since the county executive took office, there has been a much more robust effort dealing with opioid abuse, prevention, treatment. Just recently, we had a bureaucratic logjam broken in which signs were not going to be placed at our police stations, and the county executive followed through on his promise to me and got that done. And it's a small part of a larger effort, and I'm very happy to see that robust strategy now coming to fruition.
Any other questions or comments on any of these fiscal matters?
Mr. Chair.
Yes,
If I
Ms.
could
Rogers.
direct it. Good evening, everyone. Back to the trash hauling issue. Just want you to know that it's on our radar. We are doing the background history, and this goes back, I understand, into the early 50s. So we are indeed talking with and dialoguing with the trash hauling community, as well as with the department. We're also benchmarking with other jurisdictions. So just so you'll know, it's not that it is unnoticed and not on our radar.
Other questions? Councilman Patoka?
I just want to thank Ms. Rogers for her efforts in helping to get us out of the 1950s and into 2019 and to 2020.
Trying hard, but it's only so many things you can do in a period of time. But, I understand that, we get feedback as well, and we want to be a best practice jurisdiction. So, but it just takes a little bit of time to understand the history and the dynamics.
Any other questions or comments or anything on fiscal matter 1 through 11? Just to make sure, Councilman Catch, just to make sure, did you want division, or are you okay with 1 through 11? You okay with 1 11?
I just wanted to comment on 11 because I think it's so important.
Okay. Just want everybody good with voting for 1 through 11 as a whole? Okay. Any other questions or comments? All right. Hearing no other comments, is there a motion to approve fiscal matters 1 through 11?
So move.
Second.
Been motion and second. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on fiscal matters 1 through 11.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Marks? Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Fiscal matters 1 through 11 are approved. We will now consider miscellaneous business. Mr. Secretary, first item, please.
Mr. Chair, whenever a contract over $25,000 is awarded by a process other than formal competitive bid, it is required that a copy of the contract be given to the county council, and the nature and parties to that contract be announced by the Secretary at the next legislative session following the award. There are 2 such contracts this evening. First is with Baltimore Gas and Electric, doing business as BGE, in the amount of $36,192, and the second is with Qualtracs Incorporated for compliance software in the amount of $45,000.
Righty, Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Next is Resolution 82-19, sponsored by council members Marks, Catch, Crandall, Patoka, Bevins, and Quirk, for the creation of a regional water/sewer management authority.
Is there any questions or comments, Councilman Marks?
Thank you very much. We've discussed this a lot, and this resolution would endorse the creation of a regional water sewer management authority. The state legislature would have to do this, but the current model we operate under is over a century old, and I think this would accomplish 3 things. First, I think we would have a much more modernized system, something similar to the Washington Suburban Sanitary Commission. Secondly, I think we'd have greater collaboration on financing issues. But third, I think we'd have more information sharing. I see my friend Roger Gukin in the audience in the Greentown Alliance. I know they've raised a lot of issues dealing with the sewer system recently. This is by no means a slap at the professionals who serve in the city and the county right now. I think they do a really good job in a lot of circumstances. Just this weekend, I had a water main break at Bel Air Road and Rossville Boulevard, and they were working there over the weekend, actually Labor Day, trying to get that fixed. But I think we should embrace a forward-looking model, a very progressive model, one that is in keeping with the times. And I think that this will send a message to the state legislature that this is something we're in support of.
Other questions or comments from any of the members of the council? Councilman Patoka?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, this fits into the category of modernization. As Councilman Marks said, the way we've delivered our water and handled our sewage is based on a century ago. Our trash pickup is based on the 1950s. And so I would just say that this is one of these things that we need to look at, take a hard look at, and make change as we move further into the 21st century.
Any other questions or comments? Everybody good? All right. Is there a motion to approve Resolution 82-19?
Second.
Been a motion and second. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Resolution 82-19.
Mr. Marks? Mr. Katch?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Resolution 82-19 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Next is Resolution 91-19. This is a resolution to accept a gift on behalf of the Baltimore County Police Foundation, Police Department.
I see we have Colonel Folderauer here to testify. And good evening, Colonel.
Good evening, Council. This is in reference to the exercise equipment. The Baltimore County Police Foundation has offered to purchase and donate weight and strength equipment to be used by the support operations officers currently housed at the North Point Government Center. Total amount for the donated equipment is $84,646. I have a list of all the equipment available, as well as a donation letter from the Police Foundation and the proper forms to go along with that. The donation has been offered by the Baltimore County Police Foundation without any special conditions or expectations in exchange for the donation, and there's no matching funds required.
And before we take questions and comments real quick, can we do the amendment, vote on that, and then questions?
Yes, sir,
and comments?
Mr. Chair. There is one amendment offered by the administration. It's a technical amendment that merely indicates that upon passage of the resolution by the county council, the resolution would take effect right then.
And I'll move it. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion second. Any questions or comments on that? Everybody good? Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on the amendment to Resolution 91-19.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Marks? Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Katch?
Aye.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
The amendment passes. Okay, now any questions or comments? Councilman Patoka?
Sure. Colonel Folderauer, I just want to say it's been my observation that our police department is one of the most physically fit police departments that I've seen throughout the state. And I'm really pleased about this because I think this helps to further our ability to maintain that fitness as the most fit, in my opinion, police department in the state of Maryland.
Thank you, Councilman.
Any other questions or comments? Everybody good? All right, is there a motion to approve Resolution 91-19 as amended?
Move. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Resolution 91-19 as amended.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Katch?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Resolution 91-19 as amended is passed. Thank you, Colonel.
Thank you, Council.
Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Next is Resolution 92-19. This is a resolution sponsored by all council members to amend the rules of procedure for the Baltimore County Council.
And let's see, there's one amendment to this, Mr. Secretary?
There is one amendment, Mr. Chair. Just by way of, again, brief background, this measure is before you tonight and was discussed at the work session. It is a matter to formalize the charter change that took place over the past year that extended the life of a bill, for lack of a better way to say it, from 40 days to 65 days. The charter now reads that a bill not voted on or not approved, I should say, within 65 days shall fail. Trying to keep in place the monthly or 1 month, 30-day cycle that is normally associated with bills, but also take into account the possibility of a bill being on the calendar for up to 65 days. This proposed resolution, or this resolution, would allow for the extension of a bill from the initial month to another legislative session for further consideration. The two main reasons being for further study of the bill, or if substantive amendments are made to the bill and any council member believes those amendments warrant extension of the bill, and that would require a majority of the members present to agree. This amendment, in response to concerns that were indicated at the work session by a number of speakers, this amendment would specifically indicate that a bill that was extended would not only go to a legislative session, but would also be subject to the work session as well.
And just focusing on the amendment for a moment, is there any questions or comments on this amendment by any of the members?
And it's sponsored by Councilman Catch. Sorry.
Councilman Marks?
I want to commend you, Councilman Catch. I think you've offered an excellent amendment, one that addresses a lot of the concerns that the speakers raised. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments just on this amendment before we get to the bigger questions or comments? Everybody good? All right, is there a motion to approve this amendment?
So moved.
And I'll second it. So, Mr. Secretary, please call a roll on this amendment to Resolution 92-19.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
The amendment passes. So now let's talk about any questions or comments on Resolution 92-19. Councilman Marks?
Thank you. So this actually culminates a 4-year process. In 2015, the County Council unanimously passed legislation that advanced to the ballot the creation of a Charter Review Commission. And our idea was to have every 10 years, a process for looking at whether the charter should be modernized. The voters approved that charter change in 2016 with over 80% of the vote. Then the commission did its work, and the commission came up with a number of recommendations. The council voted on the recommendations, and we sent it to the voters in 2018. And the voters adopted those recommendations. And so the final part of this is passing this legislation, which I think is a very useful change to the charter, actually to our rules, to our internal rules, that opens up the process a bit more. Councilman Catch, you actually talked a lot about this because you drew from your experience as a state legislator where this practice was very commonplace, and I want to thank you. You provided some very useful advice to us. So I wholeheartedly endorse this. I think it's a good government measure, and again, it culminates 4 years of modernizing the county charter.
Other questions? Councilman Catch?
We are reaching the 21st century. We have openness and transparency. The only concern I have is if I ask to make a motion to special order the bill, does anybody know what that means?
Yeah, what you're going to tell us, right?
I'm going to tell you.
First reader, second reader.
Well, special ordering, we use it in the legislature. That is the term if you want to delay the consideration of a bill. So you would, when's our next voting session? September what?
16.
So you would just make the motion to special order the amendment and the bill until September the 16th. So that's the term that is used. And when I did use that term once, I was like, people didn't know what I was talking about. But this is a step in the right direction. And I want to thank all the members of the council, the voters of Baltimore County, for approving this measure. This is going to give our council and the people of Baltimore County the opportunity to comment, the opportunity to give input when we have a bill that has been changed drastically, or a new concept, or maybe the bill itself, there's still some confusion with it. So this is absolutely a step in the right direction. The bill and the amendment will be the subject of our work session, and to give the public an opportunity to comment. And I think that I know that this will be beneficial to the council, the people of Baltimore County, and I certainly appreciate all the support that members of the council have given to this resolution. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All right, is there a motion to approve Resolution 92-19 as amended?
So moved.
Been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call a roll on Resolution 92-19 as amended.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Resolution 92-19 as amended is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Next is Resolution 93-19, sponsored by Councilman Quirk. This is a resolution to authorize the property tax refund for Donald Brown, who is entitled to a refund under state law as a result of being a disabled veteran.
And I will proudly move that. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Resolution 93-19.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Resolution 93-19 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Next is Resolution 94-19, sponsored by Councilman Patoka. This is a resolution authorizing the refund of property taxes paid by Troy Jackson, who is entitled to a refund under state law as a result of his status as a disabled veteran.
It is with honor that I move this motion forward.
Second.
Motion and second. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Resolution 94-19.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Resolution 94-19 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Resolution 95-19, also sponsored by Councilman Patoka, is a resolution authorizing the property tax refund for James Durfee, who is entitled to a refund under state law as a result of being a disabled veteran.
It is with honor I move this motion forward.
Second.
Been a motion and second. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Resolution 95-19.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Resolution 95-19 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Resolution 96-19 is sponsored by Councilwoman Bevins. This is a resolution to authorize the property tax refund for Antonio Alexander, who is entitled to a refund under state law as a result of being a disabled veteran.
It's my honor to move it.
Second.
Been a motion and second. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Resolution 96-19.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Resolution 96-19 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Resolution 97-19 is sponsored by Councilman Marks. This is a resolution to authorize the property tax refund for James Madison Graham Jr., who is entitled to a refund under state law as a result of being a disabled veteran.
It's my honor to move this resolution.
Second.
Been a motion and second. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Resolution 97-19.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Resolution 97-19 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Resolution 98-19 is sponsored by Councilwoman Bevins. This is a resolution to authorize the property tax refund for the surviving spouse, Sheila Linneman, who is entitled to a refund under state law as a result of her deceased spouse having been a disabled veteran.
It's my honor to move it.
Second.
Been motion and second. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Resolution 98-19.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Resolution 98-19 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Resolution 99-19 is sponsored by Councilwoman Bevins. This is a resolution authorizing the tax refund for Richard Kettner, who is entitled to a refund under state law as a result of being a disabled veteran.
Again, it's my honor to move it.
Second.
Been motioned and second. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Resolution 99-19.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Resolution 99-19 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Resolution 100-19 is sponsored by Councilman Jones. This is a resolution authorizing the tax refund for Moses Stevens, who is entitled to a refund under state law as a result of being a disabled veteran.
I'll move the resolution.
Second.
Been motioned and second. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Resolution 100-19.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Resolution 100-19 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Resolution 101-19 is a resolution to accept a monetary gift, State of Maryland Department of Public Safety and Correctional Services Emergency Number System. This is for introduction only this evening.
Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Resolution 102-19 is a resolution supporting a conditional loan, Maryland Department of Commerce, Home Depot USA Incorporated. Introduction only this evening.
Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Resolution 103-19 is a resolution supporting the approval of contributions of purchase of 5 agricultural easements, Maryland Agricultural Land Preservation Foundation. Introduction only this evening.
Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Resolution 104-19 is a resolution to support the applications and ranking of 15 agricultural easements with the Maryland Agricultural Land Preservation Foundation for introduction only this evening.
Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Resolution 105-19 is a resolution to support the designation by the Maryland, is a resolution sponsored by Councilman Quirk to support the designation by the Maryland State Arts Council of an arts and entertainment district in Catonsville for introduction only this evening.
Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Resolution 106-19 is sponsored by Councilman Marks. This is a request of the U.S. Board of Geographic Names for the naming of a tributary of White Marsh Run to Kearney Run for introduction only this evening.
Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Next is Resolution 107-19, also sponsored by Councilman Marks. This is a resolution to establish a Pet Cemetery Legislative Policy Committee for introduction only this evening.
Mr. Secretary, is there any farther business to come before the council?
There's no further business, Mr. Chair.
Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting is adjourned. And as is customary, anyone who has signed up prior to the meeting with the Secretary is allowed up to 3 minutes to speak. Mr. Secretary, are there any speakers signed up for this evening?
There is one speaker signed up to speak, Mr. Chair.
And I see Miss Barbara Hopkins. If you'd like to come on up, and the floor is yours. Thank you for being here. And good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. Just a few brief notes of thanks for your passage of Bill 3719. First of all, thank Councilman Quirk and Marks for initially introducing the bill, and then Councilwoman Bevins and Councilman Catch and Patoka for signing on as sponsors. You know, history has dealt our county a difficult hand when it comes to creating when it comes to having created a huge deficit of open space. It's a deficit that sets us apart from other jurisdictions and will require concerted effort on the part of the county, neighbor space, and the development community if it is to be addressed successfully. We appreciate your consideration and passage of the bill, and we look forward to working with you, all of you, on projects in your district. I'm pleased to say that we have something going on in every district right now, and so we hope we'll have many more things in the future, and we thank you.
And Ms. Hopkins, I did want to thank you and Klaus and NeighborSpace and all the advocates that stood up and really did a great job of advocacy, and we do appreciate your work on behalf of the citizens to preserve open space inside the URDL. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Completely agree. Thank you, Barbara.
All righty. Anything else from the members before we all drive home? Everybody good? All right. Well, thank you all for joining us. Please have a safe drive home, and thanks for coming.
Sorry, Stacy. Can I? You want to say it now? Huh? Okay. Yeah, we'll get it out. We'll get it out. We'll get it out.